nightmare abyss of the piney woods of East Texas. The Random Horror Show. The best in commentary and reviews in horror, sci-fi, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure from film, television shows, and literature. Join our horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, as she is scary, but random, horrific, but funny. Last but not least, she will chill you to the bone.
Welcome back to the Random Horror Show. I am your horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, coming straight up out of the horrible, just sinister piney woods of East Texas, better known as the Iron Pine Curtain. Thank you all for joining me during spooky season, where I commentate just being silly and random. But we get back to the main point in horror, science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure, in movies, television shows, literature, and our spooky guests coming chopping it up with your girl, yours truly. And love it that it's spooky season. Love it. And I hope y'all enjoying spooky horror reads, because I like literally handpicked these authors to like bless us and get us in chokeholds and strangle us from the gore, the violence, the blood, even the sexy and the erotic in their horror and supernatural books that they write. And this week, Dicey Gregner is going to be up, and I hope y'all will love her. She is amazing. Child, she is so cute. She is so freaking cute and everything. She is amazing at what she writes, especially her horror series with the narcoleptic vampire. Ah, she is it's funny, but it's so sexy as hell too. And I love me some like really good, supernatural, sexiness with like my horror reads, because I was just like, yes, yes, yes. But enough of that right there. I have a great review for y'all, and I'm going to be talking about the OGs. The OG. This is an OG movie, which is set back in 1933. And there's been two films that I completely love. Is Hollow Man, which is with Kevin Bacon, because child, Kevin Bacon was naked up in that sucker and everything. My eyes, I was watching Hollow Man when it came out, and my eyes was like, damn, Kevin Bacon. Okay, now we're working with some bacon now. More like a kielbasa sausage. And of course, the reimagined or the remake or whatever, the Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss. Now that one was really good too, because like that was like some deep shit. Especially with the storyline source material, what was like in the movie, which I was like, well, god dang, okay then, girl, shit, you slicker than shit with this. But I'm going to be talking about the OG of everything of the Invisible Man, the 1933 OG. Lord, it just took me like just out of there. I was hollering, I was screaming, I was terrified. I was just literally just laughing. But this is a really damn good movie, and I just want to give a shout out to like Universal Studios that just said, you know what, we're gonna run with this. They ran with Dracula, uh Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, all of those films right there, even The Wolfman, because there was like a lot of those films that came out in the 30s, and especially there was so much that was going on, from the period of like when these movies came out. Especially it had like a resonance, like especially with the people that was going into a Great Depression, we had like the stock market crash in the what is it, like 1929, 1927, somewhere around there. And then of course you had World War I that like ended. So and you had the Prohibition era, god dang, what's homeboy name, Al Capone, all of that. You had so much that was going in. You had the Roaring Twenties, then you had this, going on. Then you had the Dust Bowls that was like literally during out the Great Depression. And of course, around these movies, this time of these movies, this is like where my grandparents were born. My grandfather was born in 27. My grandmother was born in 34. So you had like all of these events that was happening um in this decade, this time period, this decade. But for like Universal to like literally say, hey, let's get these monsters from these books like Mary Shelley, Bram Stoker, H.G. Wells, and just put these in the theater for people to like literally escape from the harsh horrors of real life, because again, real life can be horror, and there was a lot of horrors that was like going on during this time. And so this what like made people just forget about their troubles, forget about like a bunch of bullshit that was like happen, in the real time world. But I'm going to be talking about The Invisible Man. It's a science fiction horror. Oh my gosh. And let's go right on in like with this film, because I feel this film just needs to be talked about, because it is, we could talk about Frankenstein, we could talk about Dracula, but The Invisible Man was so different, and it is written by H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds, of course. And we have Claude Rains, who plays Griffin. And he doesn't get a lot of credit because, you have like your big time hitters like Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr. But Claude Rains in this film, he was so fucking magnificent that I was just like, yo, this guy right here literally acted a damn fool up in here. He was an OG in this film. But it starts off as like Dr. Jack Griffin, you know what I'm saying? He comes to this little town and they looking at him, because he's a strange looking guy. He has these bandages, he has these glasses, and this is like all in winter time. And the innkeeper's wife and the innkeeper's husband, they're kind of looking all crazy. And you got the small towny folks and stuff. They're just like, whoa, this dude done stopped us from drinking. Who is this cat right here? Who is this cat? Well, he like orders the innkeeper's wife to like, I need a room. She's like, well, it's winter and not a lot of people get a room around this time. But he was like, still, I want a room. I'm gonna pay you, yada yada yada. So he gets a room and he's pulling out his contraptions, all of his like beakers and work stuff and everything else. You know that like, okay, something is going on, because he is pulling out all this like gears of war, all of this shit, all over the room. So he tells her, yo, don't disturb me because I need peace to work what I need to be doing. She's still fascinated and she's still, sus on this strange man coming in and pretty much in the wintertime in a small town, and just wondering, like, why does he need a room so badly? So she goes to get his fetch his food. Which she did. Of course, he tells her don't disturb him. And she was like, "Oh crap, forgot the mustard." And she gets all mad at her, like homegirl, to my, "Oh, you forgot the mustard, damn." So she goes up and she gives the mustard, and she sees something that was really, really messed up, and it like really scared the crap out of her. Is that when he took off his bandages to eat, He didn't have a face. He didn't have a mouth. And she was like, oh shit, let me go back downstairs. So she tells everybody that's in the bar that this strange man who has wrapped up in bandages, he's all in these glasses and stuff, just looking like incognito. Like, this dude ain't got no mouth. Like, what's going on? This is strange. So she tells her husband's like, I ain't trying to go up there, like, mm-mm. You saying all this crazy stuff. I'm not coming up. I'm not going up there. So she alerts the police and they come, walking in. She's like, oh God, this woman is crazy as hell. She don't even know what she's talking about. She just going off her, rockers. Her cheese still slid off her cracker, and everything else. So he is literally just getting like super upset. And Jack just like, you know what? I'm gonna go fuck with them. And he does. He is literally like messing with their minds. He done spooked the poor lady because her ass was nosy. Her ass was nosy. One simple request: do not come to my room. And she didn't care. I know she owned that bitch and everything else, but still, like, he paying you money and you you being nosy, like my grandma. You just fucked around and found out. Your curiosity kills the cat. Mm. So he's just, I mean, I love the way how he toys with them. Well, back at the scientist, little whole, workplace and everything, he is under the tutelage of like two scientists, and also there is a young lady that he loves and stuff, which her name is Flora, and you're gonna find out who Flora is. So this is Dr. Cranley's daughter. Dr. Cranley is his like mentor, the big hoochie hooch, his boss and everything else. So he was like, you know what? I am going to, find what's going on with like Jack. We ain't heard from him because they was so worried. They was like so super worried. Mm. So they was like, all right. So Jack done, he done bounced. We don't know where he's at. And so one of his little friends and stuff, he like works with him and shit. And he was like, yo, he was like working on this experiment. And so Dr. Cranley, he was like, oh hell no, he done effed up. And like Home Biscuit was like, what do you mean? He said, this experiment that he was doing, it's got like this powder, it's got that coca, it's got that coca, because he was explaining it that this type of serum, this little powder and everything, it was tested, in India. Of course, we don't test on animals and everything. This, y'all gotta remember, this is back in the day. And that the rats and the roaches and the rabbits and shit, they all disappeared, and it was not good because guess what? Those animals started having like lots of like irritability, mania, they start going insane. And so he took this like coca powder and everything else and used this in his experiment, which turned him invisible, but it also brought some more BS with it because guess what? Jack was like going insane. So anything that is the slightest with Jack that he feels that, y'all messing with me, he gonna literally gonna go ape shit on a lot of folks. And he did that at the end. So Jack does sit there and knock some people out. He done killed somebody. And of course, the police did not believe them. And so they just thought, like, well, this is just some some hysterica, some horrific story. This is a hoax. There's no such thing as somebody that's invisible, that's knocking people out, busting bottles over their head and killing them. So he was like, okay, cool. So Jack was like, hey, they got the news out on me. People don't believe me. Okay, I'ma still go fuck up some shit. And I mean, Jack literally goes and mess up people's lives in this because he feels so invincible that nobody cannot see him and they can't do nothing about it because guess what? He's invisible. And the only time he's going to let you know that he's around you is when he start talking to you. And you thinking like, whoa, is there a foul wind in the air and stuff like that? No, baby, it's Jack coming after your butt. But Flora was so worried about him because Flora and him have a relationship. But I'm gonna tell you this right there, the homeboy that was like working with him, he trying to like ease up, he trying to be like Flora Spaccavelli. And Flora's like, no, I don't want you as a Spaccavelli now because I'm too worried about Jack. Like Jack is my boo. You just some dude to just work with him. And no, I don't like you like that, punk. So he was like, whatever, like that. So Jack gets to like the homeboy that was like push up on his girl. And he was like, hey, you can't see me. I'm the magic man and stuff. But I want you to like help me out because I'm trying to find a cure for this. And also, we can be partners. We can like dominate the world. We can do a whole bunch of shit with this. And so his homeboy, the one that's trying to push up on Flora, he was like, okay, then, he was like, okay. Jack was like, I need for you to go grab my things because I done knocked some motherfuckers out and everything and, try to strangle him and kill the ass and stuff. They like, dang, he was like, God dang, Jack, shit, you something. So he went to the inn and he got the stuff. Now the cops then came in and everything, and now they're like seeing like what the hell is up really because in the beginning they was like now they like seeing like what the hell is really up and like homeboy like killed a cop and the cops like oh shit this really is a dude that's like running around that's invisible and he's just like just going just balls to the wall knucking and bucking and stuff. So Jack got a taste of like murdering people and it just like gets him like all excited because like I said, I'm invisible, I'm invincible, nobody can do nothing to me and I'm bigger than King Kong. So his homeboy got his shit and then he was like, yeah, we're gonna hook this up, we're gonna do all this and everything. But his homeboy got scared. So he like calls like, oh, Dr. Dude. He was like, hey, Dr. Cranley, Jack over here, he's asleep. Okay? So I'll need for y'all to come. But also I'm gonna call the Popo. So he called a Popo. First, Flora and the doc came in first, okay? So he was like, oh my God, Flora, oh, like he was like so happy to like see Flora, even though Flora can't see him, but he had like all the little junk and stuff like all over him, the bandages. And he was so excited to see her because he was telling her, he's like, hey girl, you know, I'm just a poor scientist. I'm working for your dad. And, I'm just trying to get my creation out. I'm trying to get my stuff out. I'm trying to make a big name for myself, so I can marry you. I have like, money for you to provide and take care of you, girl, because I love you and everything. That was like his motivation, but also he had another sinister motivation to where he is going to sell his like invention, his product that he just discovered that he could turn people invisible. And he said he could sell it to like different like, nations and countries. He didn't give a shit if they, against like whatever was going on. Like I said, this is taking part like during the time like after World War One. And he just didn't give a shit. Wanna it can be an evil motherfucker that wanna blow up the whole planet. He said he wants to give that formula to like make this money, this shmoney, you know what I'm saying? He was like, I'm gonna hold myself on this and everything else. And he's like, I want that power. And I was like, oh shit. I said, oh, there's the real reason right there. He craved power because he felt so small and minuscule of like him before he discovered it. And he felt like with this great power, I'm gonna sound like Uncle Ben and stuff, comes great responsibility, but he didn't listen to Uncle Ben, and so Jack said, "Fuck responsibility." And Flora was like, I don't care about like, how like you broke you are, man, but you still a brilliant scientist. And she was trying to talk some sense into him. He was like, nah, cut that shit out. I'm doing it for us. But he was very selfish. He was doing it for himself because the drug that he used in his serum that made him invisible was literally like making him more insane, more irrational, more violent, more aggressive and everything. But she was the only one that he can literally calm his butt down and actually talk to her. So she was just so worried about him and they wanted to like help him. And then they left out. And then you had like a home biscuit and he went downstairs and he was like, wait a minute. I know you call Flora and them and everything. I'm so good to see him. But you called the Popo too? Oh hell no, he didn't like that shit. But this what got me right here that had me cracking up, and I was just like, this dude is not here to play. He told his homeboy, he said, look, I'm gonna murder you at 10 o'clock sharp tomorrow. I was like, God dang, that motherfucker made a promise, a threat, and a whole ass like just a whole manifestation right there. That part right there when he said that and he said it so calmly, it was the way how he was having that conversation with him. He even told him, you need to go and sit down before I bash you upside your head. I was like, damn. That man was about some action. He was not playing. He is more of an action person. So I was like, woo, got me scared too because when somebody says that and he meant what he meant and he's gonna do it what he's gonna do, like, dude, you better be scared. You should have like left out of motherfucking town. And he giving like you literally have to run out of town before he gets to you. But Jack said, you know what? I'm gonna get you, baby. I'm gonna tag you back. I'm gonna get my lick. Oh shit. So the police came. Boy, he had me cracking up. They thought they were cute and everything with that lock. Let's lock arms and everything. Hands across America type shit. Boy, Jack said, I'm gonna fuck with y'all. He took one of their pants off. Boy, he was swinging one of the cops around. Oh my God, I couldn't stop laughing. This dude was a freaking menace. And then he got the pants and he was running down the street, scared a poor old woman. I was like, oh my goodness. So he went on this crazy ass, like just manic massacre. This dude knocked the trail conductor that was, changing the rails on the train. And he knocked him out. He switched the little rails and stuff. And there was a train wreck that killed like over 100 people. I was like, oh my God, like this man is so crazy. This dude had the highest kill count. He had a high kill count, y'all. Like, this is the reason why I was just so excited to talk about this. This man was just fuck everybody, fuck humanity. He was a nihilist. And he was a damn good nihilist because he just did not give a care whatsoever. So the police done sit there and they was talking to like Home Biscuit, and he was like, "Okay, he gonna kill me at 10 o'clock." They said, "Well, we got some things we're gonna be doing, and we're gonna be doing this, and we're gonna switch out the cars, and we got like this oil and stuff. So whenever he come, we're gonna pour that over him." And they just like sitting up there talking about this damn plan and stuff like that. And I was like, "Y'all some big ass dummies and shit," because this dude has literally just did Matrix, Neo like ducking and dodging y'all, all over this movie and stuff. So they didn't even know Homeboy was sitting in the room listening. Listening. That was the cold bloodiest shit right there. He was sitting up there listening to their whole plan. And baby, and it was so crazy. Like how when they put this plan together, they had everything, set up. Yeah, we're gonna catch this dude. He was so bold just to go in through the gate, and he was just talking. I was just like, damn, this motherfucker is relentless. He is a straight menace. So one of the stupid cops and everything thought it was him and it was a cat. And so they poured the little liquid, everything just went all kind of shebang bang, just whole everything. Everything was just so messed up. And then they switched the homeboy in the car. They thought like, yeah, we're getting away. Homie was like, yeah, I'm getting away. Until he started talking. Oh Lord, he started talking. Oh, scared the shit out of the whole homeboy. Baby, he got that homie. He like kind of just stopped him. He tied him up and stuff. Child, he was like, and it was so cold. He was so cold. He cold as ice. He said, I hope you have good insurance on your car. I said, what? He good insurance on his car. I said, no way. He said, I hope you have good insurance. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tie you up and when you go down, you're gonna crash into these boulders. Your head's gonna split, your blades are gonna break and your spine is gonna do all this and everything. I was like, good God Almighty. I mean, he was scaring the shit out of me. He was scaring the crap out of me when he was just sitting there just so calm, and he gave him that promise, that threat, and he was not going to back down on what he said. I'm going to kill you at 10 o'clock. And he was not playing. He meant that. And he just let his friend go down the ravine. Baby, that dang car should have had some good ass $1 million insurance, because that little sucker done flipped and blew up. I said, oh my gosh. I said, he didn't tell him about the rest and everything, that he was going to burn up the car. He was going to burn up. I was like, hot dog. So everybody was like, oh snap, like where is he? He's still on the loose. He's still like, he got his little revenge on homeboy and stuff. So he's like, shit, I'm tired. So he goes into a bar. And he was like sitting there asleep. Then this old dude came. He was like, "Oh snap! It's something breathing in the barn. There's some this hay moving and stuff, and ain't no wind up in here because it's cold. It's not the snow and the wind." And so he goes down to the police station. He's like, "Hey y'all, that invisible dude, he in my barn." So they said, "All right then." So finally, they got really smart. And they was like, you know what? We're gonna smoke this hoe out. So they smoked that hoe out. Jack Griffin comes out. They see his little footsteps in the snow. Bam, bam, bam. He was gone. Not yet, but he was critically injured. So they got him in the hospital. He was still invisible like a motherfucker. And then Flora came in. She wanted to see him because, she loved this cat. It sucks that, you know, everything has just went to like poo poo, especially him, discovering this serum that just turns him invisible, but it just made him just like real crazy maniac. And then he dies, and guess what? You see the invisible man reappearing. And that was the cure of the whole serum thing, is that the person has to die for the cure or the invisibility to like wear off. And that was the end of the movie. But my thoughts on this sucker, this movie right here had me just shook to the core. And it's because of how you cannot see a person that's invisible that has done something with science. And then he uses an ingredient which is very detrimental not only to animals but humans also. He felt like so much rage and just instability that he wanted to crave power. It changed him a lot. From this serum, he changed a lot. And that like he was like, I'm invincible. And this is the only monster movie that came out where the character is not a supernatural like Dracula or Frankenstein. This is actually human. This guy is human, and I felt like with this film, The Invisible Man, it just makes like somewhat like we can relate to it because we love creatures, we love all of that right there, but something about science and this and science fiction part about it, and that is this is a man that felt like he was unworthy of a lot of things. He looked at himself as like being this poor scientist. He's trying his hardest. And I was like, dude, you are a freaking scientist. You went to school, you learned a lot of chemistry. That's a lot of school and that's a lot of stuff. I mean, bonds, molecules, things like that. That's not, some regular people's shit. This dude is actually freaking brilliant. He is really brilliant to like have this invisible potion that he created, but he didn't look at himself as being brilliant because he felt like he was lacking like in a lot, especially with the money. He felt like he was lacking because since he didn't have money like he wanted to, and also he was in love with his mentor and boss's daughter, that he was like, I have to get her to finer things. But then he didn't even realize and stop and say, you know what, she really is not like all that pressed about me having money. She really loved him because of his brilliance. She knew that he was going to make like a big discovery, a big break, that she knew he was going to have some kind of relevance in history of his works. And that's the reason why she was not worried about those things. I mean, she already had what she had, but she really liked the emotional intelligence of like Dr. Griffin, her boo thing. But he just couldn't see the foresight. He didn't have a lot of foresight of like how something like this could be devastating, which is going to break her heart and kill a lot of innocent people, which led to his demise at the end. And just seeing how like this like film was just so powerful, like even like with like how the storyline was going, I was like, wow, he didn't realize that he had it so good and it was right dead in his face, and he just thought that if he can be this, he can be that, that he will be more powerful, he will be invincible. But it led him down to his downfall. He forgot about his humanity whenever he put that ingredient into his invisible, serum. If he didn't put that in there, I felt that like he would have had like this amazing breakthrough in science, and he would have been Nobel Peace Prize. He would have got the accolades and everything else. But since he used this formula, this powder that was very dangerous, he thought he was playing. He was literally playing himself, and that was like his flaw. He just didn't trust himself. He just did not trust himself, but it sure did. What they say, trust the process. Yeah, he trusts the process, all right. Because the process made him crazy. The process made him insane. And speaking of insane, how about the practical effects that is in this film? We know CGI was not there back in the 30s, but at least give some flowers on like how they have this actor to look invisible in this movie. I mean, even whenever we seen Hollow Man, they used some practical and some CGI. And then, of course, the reimagined Hollow Man, the remake of it with Elizabeth Moss. That was like very cutting edge and everything else. But with like this one, the OG one, I mean, they put a lot of like thought into this. I mean, even from whenever you don't even see the strings really. When I was looking through like how he was moving stuff, supposedly he's invisible and he's like hidden and knocking stuff down. You really don't even see the strings, and it gave like that very like eeriness of like, damn, I don't even know where this cat is at. He can knock me upside the head. To like where he's unraveling the bandages off of him. I loved it how he was just I mean, he was so savage when he took off his nose and he threw it, at the crowd to scare the shit out of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, he is such a savage with that. And to like where you can see like how they did very good trick photography angles to get letting you just literally getting in your head that even though this man you can't see him, but just letting you know like, hey, this person is invisible. Even just with the camera, it was like using your imagination. I love that about this film, that it really just they dug really deep to like bring that horror, that terror, that unknown, looking over your shoulder because this person is invisible, and that you're literally scared to death. I mean, it was so crazy the way how he knocked the person down that was riding a bicycle and he took off on the bicycle. That was nuts right there. And I'm telling you, flowers and bravo to that team. I know they're dead and everything, but that right there, that was the most impressive thing about this film is the special effects. And when we see special effects in different movies, that some of it aged terribly or some of it doesn't work, some of it looks real hokey, some of it starts looking goofy. But this film right there, even though they had to work what they had to work with, that it created that ambiance that, this man is invisible. You better watch your back. You don't know if he's right there breathing in front of your face. And just talk about like the language that he used. The language that he used in this film was so calm, but it was just that psycho calm, that demeanor that he had, especially with the promising of like killing his fellow, homeboy that was a scientist with him, but he was like, you know what, you was pushing up on my girl. I'm just gonna kill you. You call the cops on me. You know what? Your ass is dead. You dead, son. You dead, son. That's how he was. And he made sure that he stuck to his word. As they said back in the day, your word is your bond, even though the word is your bond is very rare with people these days. But back in those days, when somebody said what they meant, that's their bond. It's a little different time and everything. I still like that myself too. Like my word is my bond because I'm gonna say I said what I said, but I put, how they said, if you can walk the walk, you can, you walk the walk, you talk the talk, and all that stuff like that. I'm basically that person about action. He was about action, and he was gonna let you know. He was like, he's gonna do it, but you're not gonna see it coming. And there was a lot of things that was in this film that, from like all of the deaths that he did and hurt people and murdered people, they didn't see it coming. And that was the whole reason why I literally love the Invisible Man, the OG of this film. I mean, this movie right here to me is like a 10 out of 10. And I love my other, films like Bride of Dracula. Excuse me, Bride of Frankenstein and Dracula and everything. But this one right here, it's on my heart. It literally is on my heart. And plus, kind of like have a little bit of a fed of some, you have some guy that's invisible, and then you're just like, oh, it's an invisible guy. You getting all butt ass naked, and you just like, you hear him, you're like, ooh, what he gonna do? But that's another story right there. I don't want to let y'all know about that, but I'm just like I'm just sprinkle some a little bit of, some little interesting things, especially when you have an invisible person. And y'all don't pay me no mind. Y'all should be already used to me by this time. And if you're not, I'm sorry. Okay? Shit. Y'all know what time it is up in this bitch. But thank you all for joining me, just this review and just talking about the 1933 Universal Monster, The Invisible Man. Give this a watch. Give it so much praise. Give it its flowers, because I feel this is like one of a gem of a movie that came back in a decade and era where, it was so much going on, especially, how human history was in the 20th century, and that it gave like a lot of people an escapism to like really just get away from the harsh realities of what was going on. And these are classics. These are literally classics. And like I said, give the Invisible Man so much love, like you do Dracula, Frankenstein, and all of the Universal horror monster movies. And you can find me on Instagram at The Random Horror Show, Facebook, YouTube, and now on TikTok. I know I'm a little slow on the TikTok and everything, but um, I'll be posting a lot out on TikTok also. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I'm glad this is spooky season. I'm glad that I can shower all of you with all my dark little heart and love, especially a film that really got my heart. And The Invisible Man is just fucking amazing. It really is. But y'all take care. Be safe out there. Don't let no clowns get you down and everything. If y'all have not seen Terrifier, go see it. I'm gonna go catch Terrifier myself. You're gonna be hearing my reviews on that. Please do listen to Spooky Reads. I have that this great segment for y'all because I love like literature, and I feel that sometimes we can take a break from watching a lot of horror movies, and we can literally deep dive into like a nice little horror, science fiction horror, any type of like splatter, blood, gore, supernatural book with these wonderful indie authors are putting out there for us, even the ones that are very sexy and erotic. If you're really big into lots of smut sex with like supernatural characters, if you are into that, go check out my girl Dicey. There's other authors out there that do write smutty horror, supernatural beings. I'm all into that shit myself. But thank you so much. And I'm Keisha Lacey, and this is the Random Horror Show.